it takes 3 days for one person to plow a field, write an expression telling how long it would take X amount of people. Well, if it takes 3 days for one person, we could also argue that if it takes 3 days for one person, it might take about a day and a half for two people to do it. Well, we can tell that by doing so. Or 1 1/2. Well, we can continue this pattern for 50, 100, 5, however many people we wanted. But in order to represent that, how long would it take for X amount of people? We could do the same thing and just put 3 over X. Alec did a survey asking Creekland Middle School students how many minutes they spend studying each night. He came up with 4 samples as shown. Of all the samples below, which is probably the most representative of the population? So in other words, Alec went out and surveyed a different number of people every time he took the survey. Well, in this case, he interviewed about 4 people. In this case, he interviewed 10. In this case, he interviewed 3. In this case, it looks like he interviewed about 20. And because he interviewed more people here, that is more likely to be more representative of the overall school population because he asked more people. Therefore, sample D is the answer. What are the coordinates for points Q, N, and T? Well, first let's find Q. We know that X comes first and Y comes second. So we must find out where our Q is on the X-axis. We go over 1, 2, 3, 4. And keep in mind on the X-axis this is positive. This is the positive side. This is the negative side. So we have a positive 1, 2, 3, 4. So Q equals positive 4, but we're not done, of course. We have to try to find out where it is on the y-axis. We're about right here on the y-axis, which is positive 1, 2, and 3. So our answer for Q is 3. N and T. N is right here. In this case, we have to find on the x-axis, but they're on the negative side. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, which is right here. So we know they're negative 3. Now we must find out where they are on the y-axis, which is a positive 3. 1, 2, 3. Point T. Find out where they are on the x-axis first. 1, 2, 3. We're about right there. So we're positive 3. But we've got to be careful because on the y-axis we're in negative territory. We're about right here. 1, 2, 3, negative, negative 3. So therefore the answers are Q is at 4, 3. N is at negative 3 and 3. T is at 3, negative 3. Jason is head of the environmental club. That should be a he, I'm sorry. He wants to learn more about the recycling practices of students at his, sorry, I'm the king of typos, his school. He plans on surveying a randomly selected sample of students. Which of the following is most likely to yield useful results? A. Do you care about the environment? Well, that might have some bearing, but that's not really a good survey question, so we can eliminate A. Have you ever been to a landfill? That really has nothing to do with what we're talking about, so we can mark that one out. C. Which types of items do you recycle on a regular basis, and about how many of those items do you recycle a week? That might be a good one. Let's go ahead and circle that one and keep that one on the back of our mind. D. Do you know our school uses or only uses recycled paper in the copy machines? Again, goes along with the theme of recycling, but I don't think that's going to give us a good idea of the recycling practices of the kids at school. Therefore, the answer is C. The list below shows the number of hours Jason worked each week for 6 weeks. What is the range in the number of hours he worked per week? Well, range is simply the largest number, or the largest number, and we take the smallest number away from it to find the range of the data set. Well, what we first must do is put this in order from least to greatest. And then as we do it, we need to mark them off. So we have 8.5. Mark it out. Next is 14.5 hours. Mark that one out. Next is 16. Next is 19. And see, I've already skipped. See, I already made a boo-boo. I skipped 17, so let's go ahead and put a 17 there and a 19 here. And that's why we mark them off, because I missed that one, but I'm glad I did that, because many of us do that from time to time. And then finally we have 20. And again, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 weeks. Well, again, all the range is the difference between the largest and the smallest number. So in this case, we have to take 20, and we have to subtract 8.5 from it. All right, remember, we have to use our decimals here. And we have to add a 0.0 to the 20 because we have a decimal and a number on the end of the 8.5. Well, 0 minus 5 doesn't work, so we have to borrow and make that a 10. We bring our decimal down, remember, that becomes a 0.5. We have to borrow from the 0 and make that a 9. Well, 9 minus 8 is 1. Borrowed from the 2, we have a 1. 1 minus 0 is 1. Therefore, our answer is 11.5. Please remember to put those in order from least to greatest, because if you just look at the ends, you're going to take 19 and subtract 14.5 and come up with 4.5, and that will be wrong. How many more students are enrolled in the beginner class than the advanced class? Well, first we must find out how many are in each and then subtract to find the difference. Remember, how many more students are enrolled in the beginner class than in the advanced class? Well, we've got to take a look at our key. Each stick figure equals 4 people. Well, in the beginner class we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That means we have 28 people in the beginner class. In the advanced, it's a little bit different. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a half, or 4 and a half. So you could either do this one of two ways. You can multiply 4.5 times 4, and you can get 18. Or you can say 4, 8, 12, 16, and half of 4 is 2 to equal 18. Either way you do it is fine with me. Now, we're not done though. We have to find